Hi everyone, this is Chapter 9, Supporting Mobile Devices. We'll be looking at different types of mobile devices, the operating systems that are most popular on these mobile devices, how to network them, whether it's wired or wireless, setting up security or synchronizing these devices and troubleshooting them. And then we will also talk about the Internet of Things or IoT devices. When you think about mobile devices, of course we all obviously think about smartphones, but there's so many other things, any kind of wearable technology, tablets, the Kindle, e-readers, GPS systems, and then VR and augmented reality headsets. So we really have a wide variety of different things that are considered mobile devices. And so here's just an example of a Oculus Rift headset and hand controls. The most popular OSs for mobile devices are Android, iOS, Windows 10 Mobile, Chrome, and Chrome OS. Generally, when you're talking smartphone and when I poll the class, it's Android versus iOS. And most of the time, Android is the most popular, especially in the networking world. But it really is almost 50-50. They don't have Windows phones anymore, but I had a couple of them back a while ago, and I really liked them a lot. But now I have a Pixel phone. I'm a big fan of Android operating system because it's what I'm used to. And people ask me, hey, I have an Android, should I switch to iOS or vice versa? And I'm always telling them, keep with what you know, what you're used to. When you switch, only switch if you really are upset about, something that Android is doing or that iOS is doing. Windows 10, I have a Surface Book. No, I have a Surface Go. I also have a Surface Book, but the mobile is Windows 10 Mobile on my Surface Go. I really like it. I actually have this app that I can just do really quick text to writing, or writing to text, and it works really well on that. I did have to allow it to install certain programs on there because it's the limited version. The mobile version is a limited version versus our full-blown Windows 10 Home or Pro. And then there's the Chrome OS that is used by all of the Chromebooks. And it is open source, and it's the Chromium OS. And I know we have a lot of schools, districts in the area that use the Chromebooks for school. So back to the Android. It is based on the Linux kernel, and both Linux and Android are open source software. So you can actually get that software, and you can make your own code if you wanted to do that, if that was something that you really, really wanted to do. And all of these releases here, we have all different kinds of dessert names, but really it should be added on here. We have Android 10 and Android 11. Right now on my phone, I have the Pixel 3. It has Android 10, and it was updated as of the beginning of the month. So really now we've kind of switched over from desserts into numbers. Here's what the Android phone looks like. So those of you that had an Android phone, you know what it looks like. We've got our favorites tray. We've got our search bar. We have our navigation bar. On mine, I don't have the navigation bar. I don't have this down here. But it just has I can switch it back to the navigation bar, so I can switch it to make it change. But this is everything. The other thing that I do on mine is I have widgets. So I have my Spotify, Audible, and then my to-do list as a widget so that I can see more information. Android, the Android, obviously we have a graphical user interface that has our home screen, and then it has mine has 3 different panes that I can put things on. There's an embedded browser. I just always use Chrome. I do have Firefox on mine, but I just always end up using Chrome because it's easier. There's a database in it. and then you can connect to your cellular network, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, all of that. So you can connect to all of that. Obviously in the favorites we can have our favorite apps, and it can be up to 5. And then we have our notifications and any, we have our digital assistant or Siri, in the iOS world you have Siri, and Windows world you have Cortana. So we have our digital assistant. We can say, okay, Google, and it will respond. And of course I said, okay, Google, and my phone responded. So, and if you pull down from the top, you'll get your notifications and then a mini bar with kind of the most important settings. And you can pull down even further, and you can go even more into it. So it's just the quick settings when you swipe down. You can get Android apps through the Google Play Store. I download a lot of apps on my phone, but really I only download the ones that I really want to look at or really need. I don't just download anything because I just don't want bad apps on my phone, and I don't want to have issues with those apps. Because with Google Play, they have a little more leeway to the app developers on things they put on there. It's not as stringent as iOS. It's getting there, but so you can develop Android apps using Android Studio, and there's an Android software developer kit that you can use in an Android emulator. So in our Cengage lab, hopefully you'll get going on that. There actually is an emulator, and you can check that out. It's not for actual points. I just want you to test it out to see. So Android Studio is free and it's open source, so it's just kind of something fun to play around with. And we do have a class that is Android app development. So we do have that, and you can go in and you can make your own app and put it up in the Google Play Store. So here's just what the Google Play Store looks like, and this is the updates that this one doesn't have any updates, but you can see all of the installed apps in the Google Play. So then we move on to iOS. Obviously it's developed by Apple, sold by Apple. It's in the iTunes, in the Apple Store. So it uses the iOS operating system. Everything's owned by Apple. And iOS is based on the Mac OS, and the latest release is 12. I haven't looked that up to see what the latest release is. But, obviously our iPhones and iPads both have the same operating system. And then depending on the device, you've got the side button on the upper right side. You got your home button. My husband loves his home button. In fact, I told him that if he got a new phone, we'd have to really search so that he could still have his home button. Because like the newer iPhones do not have it. But there still are phones out there with that original home button. And I believe you can do some sort of mod that does the home button as well. So, yeah, here's the home button. I'm telling you, some people just really love that and they don't want to get rid of it. One of my close friends, I kept telling her she needed a new phone so bad, and she didn't want to upgrade because it got rid of her home button. And her husband bought her a brand new, really nice phone for her birthday, so she moved on, and it's all fine. Then here is just kind of the Access Center or the App Center, Control Center in iOS. And you can see all the different options. And we kind of have our favorites bar down here too. Obviously you can only buy iOS apps through the App Store. Other developers can write apps, but they have to be sent to Apple, and then Apple has to check those out before it gets on the App Store. Chuck Conkle has a class. It's called CIS280. It is iOS app development, and he goes through all of that. So we have an Android class, and we have a iOS app development class. So we have both of those classes that we offer, and they go into more detail on how to do all of this. Here's the iOS App Store. You can just kind of see. And then, of course, these change all the time. So then the Windows Mobile, this is great because, you know, honestly, they show you a Windows phone, but really there are no Windows phones out there anymore, really. So Windows Mobile, you're going to see this on the Surface tablets and the Surface Go's, and you have a start button. You have, you know, a start screen, a start button, all of that good stuff. So there is a start button on the Surface Go, and we have our back and we have our search. So those are on there as well. There are notifications that you can get on there. It doesn't look exactly like this phone, but you can see all the notifications. They usually come down in the corner, kind of like what they do on the PCs. And then here's the different settings that you can set it to. These look very similar as well for the Surface Go. I should set it up so that you can see the Surface Go. Maybe I'll do that in another video. So you got to go through the Microsoft App Store. So, and what you can do, what I had to do is I had to change the settings so that I could just download whatever I wanted, because I wanted Adobe, the full version of Adobe, I believe, and it wouldn't let me. It said it was too much for the operating system, which made me mad, because why would I need a Surface Go if I can't have Adobe or certain things on it? So I found out how to take care of it, and it was really easy. You just have to, it's basically turning on an option. On to Chrome. So the Chrome OS is basically just kind of an integration with the Chrome browser. And you've got all of the apps that you go in and you can download for the Chrome. So really, my Chromebook, I have a Pixelbook, I love it. It is just exclusively Chrome OS and any extensions that go with it. I use it extensively for any of my work with the high school, and it is all online stuff, anything with Google Drive or using any of the Google Documents, spreadsheets, any of that, and then email. So really it's all Chrome stuff. And then I do have Chrome extensions such as Grammarly and LastPass. I have a whole bunch of extensions. So there's different extensions that you can put on there that make your life easier as well. The biggest thing that I've noticed with the Chromebook, and I've said this to students, they're like, Mrs. Washer, we don't have this on our Chromebook. So I'm like, hit the back button or hit refresh or hit, you know, certain buttons, and they're like, we don't have that button. So you have to look and see what is different on the keyboard for the Chromebook. And definitely they have a search button, and then they have the arrow keys for previous and next. There is, you know, I always say hit 5 for refresh, and then I always hear, we don't have F5, but they have the refresh button, which is the little circle. And then there's immersive mode, overview mode, and so on and so forth. And, you know, our sound and all of that. So there is a different keyboard for them. So that's kind of important to keep in mind. Here's just kind of how the Chrome OS works. You'll see there's some quick things at the bottom, and really all of these open into a browser, except for settings, but all of them open up into a browser pretty much. So the apps are all browsers. So how Google handles different things, they have, we've done power washing a couple times. That's why I'm laughing, because at District 100 or Belvedere School District, we've had to do some power washing a couple times. And some of the Chrome extensions, when they get an update, they might kind of make the system go a little wonky. So what Google does with security is they can do what you call a power washing, which is just like a reset of the computer. You can do a verified boot. You can do what's called sandboxing. And any of those Chrome OS apps, there's going to be icons for those apps. You can get in and see all of the apps in your Chrome browser. There's some for programming, because I had to look through and see if we could do some programming items through the Chromebook, and you can. But there's also Replit. So, you know, some things you can get around the Chrome OS by using a really good website. So everything's through that Chrome App Store, and sometimes you can go through the Google Play Store for the Android apps. So it's all just, you know, really nice and basic information on the Chrome. If you just need to surf the net and do email, the Chromebooks are a very nice, inexpensive way to take care of that. And you can actually get a touchscreen one that is pretty cheap and affordable, and you can do almost everything that you need with it. One last thing to cover is comparing open source and closed source operating systems. So iOS is a closed source operating system. You only have access to the APIs, and all of the apps have to be tested and approved by Apple before it can be sold in the web store. But you have high quality apps. You know that those apps are going to be pretty decent when you download them. You know they're going to be pretty secure. And then everything is centralized for app purchasing, which makes it nice and easy for people. For Android, it's open source, so it can be, you know, obtained from many places. Anybody can make an app and upload it, so there really isn't much of a quality assurance with them. And, you know, there's many variations. There might be incompatibility. So, and then it might not be as great of a of an app that you download on your phone. So you just want to make sure that when you download an Android app, I always look at the comments. I for sure look at the comments, make sure that it's decent and that it's not going to do anything bad to my phone for Android. iOS, my husband, he just can download whatever he wants, and I'm really glad that he has an iOS phone because he's not very computer savvy. So I don't have to worry about having to fix his phone all the time because he's downloading weird apps that he doesn't need. So that is everything from Chapter 9. This was just an addendum to my previous one. So this is everything from Chapter 9 regarding types of mobile devices, types of operating systems for mobile devices, and the next video will be on configuring and syncing and security.